Welcome to another episode of the Don Davis Real Estate Show. It's your host, Don Davis, of Don Davis Luxury Realty Group, brokered by EXP, broadcasting live here on this sunny Sunday afternoon right here in Houston, Texas, where we're broadcasting live from 6161 Savoy, 100.7 FM, KKHT, The Word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. Upon that rock he built his church. Upon that rock, we have built our business, and our results are a reflection of our character. It's your host, Don Davis, of Don Davis Luxury Realty Group, broadcasting live another day here, another Sunday here in Houston, Texas, where we talk about the local real estate market, the national real estate market, what's trending, what's hot, and what's not, and what's important to help you do to grow your business, not only financially, but spiritually as well. It's very important that you have a relationship with God. And like I say, in order to have a successful business, you have to have a relationship with God, and that's what we've chose to broadcast on 100.7 FM. There's other stations here in the same studio that a lot of real estate companies use, but we chose 100.7 The Word because we understand the importance of keeping God first in everything we do. So want to welcome everybody, our weekly listeners. Want to give you a weekly update of what's going on, but keep in mind, love's going to get you. You got to love where you live, love where you work. You got to love what you do to help take your business to the next level. Today, I want to touch on some of the general rules of thumb when it comes to real estate practicing. Anytime you meet a real estate agent, there's going to be several areas of expertise in which they practice real estate, and you have to know, is this person an expert in the field that I would like to focus on? A lot of times we all have real estate licenses, but that license allows you to practice in more than one area. And you need to know whether they specialize in several of these categories. So 7 quick categories that I wanted to mention where real estate agents are allowed to perform are a few that I want to mention and elaborate on over the next half hour. The first one is the residential listings. A listing agent represents sellers traditionally in a 1 to 4 unit property. Now, 1 to 4 units can be anything from a single family resident on up to a fourplex. The very importance of that is because that is not considered multifamily because it's 1 to 4 units, and it gives you a lot of options. Anytime it's a 1 to 4 family residence, it gives you an option not only to get one of the lower interest rates when it comes time to get a mortgage. It's considered what we call an owner-occupied investment property. It could definitely be a win-win. So a lot of times people will buy a duplex on this type of product, and then they'll go ahead and lease out the other side. So they pretty much live for free. Now, that also applies to triplexes and fourplexes as well. So you want to make sure you have an agent that understands the selling side, the listing side of a 1 to 4 family unit. 1 to 4 family units can be anything from single family residences on up to fourplexes, where you use the same 1 to 4 family residential contract, and that allows the purchaser to use it as an owner-occupied investment property as long as they live in one unit and lease out the others. Well, some people say, well, hey, Don, I don't really want to, sleep where I make income. So a lot of times what people end up doing is they never tell the neighbors they're the owner. They actually hire a third-party property manager to manage the other units. And if you can keep a straight face, what we call a poker face, and not let the other tenants know that you're the owner, then you have an opportunity to live for free. So that's very good, especially when you have a kid going to college or something like that. Go ahead and buy that kid a duplex and then let the kid live on one side of it and rent out the other. And pretty much your kid becomes an entrepreneur while they go to school. So 1 to 4 family residential units is definitely what you want to find out if somebody is an expert in. Me particularly, as the majority of our business is 1 to 4 family residences. Sometimes those are luxury homes. Sometimes those are condominiums. Sometimes those are duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes, but they all fit on that same promulgated form that's issued by the Texas Association of Realtors and the Texas Real Estate Commission to make sure that we do avoid the practicing of law, but at the same time obey old car, which is the fiduciary obligation to get you the best deal possible for that property. So on the residential listing side, you represent the seller. On the residential buying side, you represent the buyer. Buyers, we traditionally help out to buy either resale or new. Resale, typically you have to use the same contract. First of all, let's back up. On the seller side, use a listing agreement. On the buying side, you use a 1 to 4 family residential contract. So there's several forms that end up coming together in a negotiation process. So you need to know which forms are going to come together at that process to make the deal solid. But when you're representing a buyer on a resale, the resale typically uses a 1 to 4 family residential contract. On the new construction, the builder, since they are the principal, they're allowed to go ahead and allow their contracts as well. So they're allowed to go ahead and prepare their own contracts since they are the principal of the product that they're selling. So they usually have attorneys to prepare those documents as well. But that's just our educational segment. I wanted to go ahead and touch on two quick fields of the residential selling side, the residential listing side, the residential purchasing side, the resale side, and the new construction side. Now, there's also farm and ranch, believe it or not. If you go back to the sovereignty of soil, at one point, all construction was unimproved land. And that unimproved land is what we call sovereignty of soil, going back to the chain of title to where the product was converted from one farm to the next farm to the next farm to what we call chain of title, your Schedule C or Schedule E, your Schedule C. With the title company that allows you to find out whether the mineral rights were conveyed, whether each types of ownership that it's been over time. It could have had an ag exemption at one time. It could have had a senior citizen exemption at one time. It could have had a homestead exemption. So this product is going to show you exactly how things have changed over time. So we have a lot of educational things we want to share on today since we do not have a guest today. So we want to go ahead and make sure that you know several segments of the real estate business. Somebody says, I'm a real estate agent, I'm a real estate professional. That does not mean they specialize in the category you're looking to have help with. So the first thing is to know the listing side, the selling side, the buying side, the resale side, the new construction side, the farm and ranch, the unimproved land, and also the chain of title, where you can see where the product was converted from unimproved land to improved land. Believe it or not, I was talking to somebody today that said they remember when the horses rode up and down Westheimer. Before Westheimer was a busy street, it was a dirt road, and they remember when horses rode up and down Westheimer. Well, guess what? That's chain of title. That shows where it changed from farmland to residential to commercial. So we're going to go ahead and head to our first commercial break based on that. Keep in mind, love where you live, love where you're going to work, and love where you play. Don Davis Luxury Realty Group, broker by EXP. I am Don Davis of DDLRG Luxury International Real Estate, and when it's time to make a business decision about your residence, please keep in mind, it's a Don deal.
You want to excel, Don Davis is a great guy to work for. I mean, he's a great teacher and a great leader.
He's more than family. He's the guy that's actually helping me roll. I didn't know anybody when I moved out here. He's the guy rolling his sleeves up saying, come on, let's go move what you got to move.
When it's time to make a business decision about your residence, it's a Don deal. I'm sorry, I'm back. People think I forget to come back. I like our intro, outro music. I can sit there and listen to that all day. Once again, it's Don Davis Luxury Realty Group, broker by EXP, broadcasted live here from 6161 Savoy. Just wanted to give y'all several categories of real estate. I know it's a lot of real estate professionals out there, so when you screen an agent, make sure they specialize in what you're looking for. If somebody specializes in residential, you don't want them to help you find a condo. If somebody specializes in condominiums, you don't want them to help you find a luxury estate, unless they're hybrid agents. I know some agents that can actually do both. So you definitely want to interview your agents and make sure they have the 7 C's. The 7 C's we typically talk about in real estate as they understand the characteristics, the covenants, the codes, the contingencies, the competence, the character, the comparables. You also want to know all those are huge when it comes to negotiating, especially when it comes to HOAs. I noticed today in the Houston real estate section of the Chronicle, it talks about HOA living, and do you really want HOA living? The pros of HOAs is that, yes, you have a master plan community. You have what we call a municipal utility district. You have some of the gated communities. You have amenities. You have swimming pools. You have things like that. But at the same time, you also have some additional governing parties who will tell you, hey, Chris, your yard's too high. Hey, Chris, you need to make sure you put the trash can in the backyard. Hey, you need to make sure you do this, you make sure you do that. So there's pros and cons of living in a homeowners association or a property owners association. And there's also going to be a slight little fee associated with it as well. So, yes, there are pros and cons to living in an association, but if you need something quick and easy so you can move right in and get right to work, we definitely can give you the covenants, codes, and restrictions, the CC&Rs associated with that HOA to make sure that you don't buy in a neighborhood where you're miserable. I've literally seen people buy new construction in an HOA and hate the HOA so much they sell and lose money selling their home just because the agent did not help them do research ahead of time to find out what all does this HOA allow and what don't they allow. Sometimes it can be something as simple as parking your commercial vehicle on the street. So let's just say you work for ABC Pest Control and you decide when you come home at night to park your truck on the street. Did you know that can be an HOA violation? So make sure you know covenants, codes, and restrictions. Another thing is some HOAs do not allow guests over 30 days because they have been burned. They have been bitten for that by people using their properties as these for vacation rental by owner type situations where people start leasing their homes out for commercial use in an HOA. Now, initially you said, hey, man, what's wrong with that? It's my property. I'm making a little extra money. But at the same time, for the neighbors who have built their equity in that property, and at the same time, they have families there. They want their kids safe to go outside and play. And then you have some complete stranger to come in, lease a property for a couple of days, trash the place, and then throw big parties and move to the next town. That's why it's a conflict of interest if you would like to use your property as a vacation rental by owner in some HOAs. So all these things matter. You definitely want to make sure you research that before you buy. That way you're not getting nasty notes on the doors, having meetings at the local HOA meetings where they end up meeting about you particularly. You want to be that guy where these guys meet about. So you want to be the best neighbor possible, and the best way to do that is have your realtor research the covenants, codes, and restrictions before you make an offer on that property. Another thing is something as small as an in-home daycare can be a violation of a HOA because of the traffic. So any type of commercial use of your property can be a violation of the Homeowners Association, and you can read into that more on the real estate section of the Houston Chronicle. Another thing, if agents are listening to the show today, the people say, Don, how have you been successful as a real estate agent? First of all, I read the Sunday section of the Houston newspaper, the real estate section, every Sunday since I've been in the business. I don't see how you can call this your field. You know, NFL, they say we play on Sunday. Well, guess what? In real estate, we read the real estate section on Sunday. And if you're not reading the real estate section on Sunday, I don't care if people say, well, print is outdated, everybody's going online now. I think you need to do everything you can to educate yourself on the real estate business so you know what's hot and what's not at all times. So, but knowing what's hot and what's not at all times is a perfect segue into what I read today in the Houston Chronicle, where we read that Meridiana is the top selling community up and down 288. Now, 288 is always going to be one of the most successful highways just because the proximity to the medical center. Anytime you can get from the suburbs to work in 15 to 20 minutes, depending on traffic, that's a win-win situation. So look for major development going out 288 as far as to Pearland, Rose Sharon, Manville, etc. But want to give a big shout out to Meridiana, the developer there, for being one of the fastest growing, top selling communities in the Brazoria County area, where they have a yacht. Yes, we talked about HOA. It's an HOA, but they have a yacht that you can reserve to have dinner on with your family anytime you'd like to reserve the yacht in the community. They also have a football stadium in the community, elementary school in the community. So those are pros of being in Meridiana. It's a great community to kind of not have to leave. That's the whole segment. Now you see Sugarland Town Center, the Woodlands Town Center. Katy has a Katy Town Center coming up. All these town centers are designed because people realize that you have such a long commute during the week. They want to make it on the weekends where you do not have to leave that area. So Meridiana has the yacht in the community. They also have the Pearland Town Center around the corner where they have movie theaters, shopping, fine dining, you name it. So definitely look for a area of town that allows a town center to where you don't have to commute during the week, on the weekends like you do during the week. I also want to give another shout out to Cane Island. Partners in Building is just opened its 100-foot section in Cane Island. Keep in mind, you want to look at the lot width as well as the size of the lot. 100-foot section means the width of the lot in front of the home is 100 foot from one neighbor to the next. And that's very, very important to me. I tell you what, there's some new construction out there that's really taking advantage of some buyers because they say, hey, everybody wants something under 300, but then they give you a 45-foot lot. A 45-foot lot, you almost it's like being in an apartment complex. So keep in mind, you want to make sure that if you have the budget to go a little bit higher, the minimum I would buy is 65-foot. But if you don't have the budget to go there, go ahead and start with the 45-foot until you get some equity up under you. But lot width is very important when it comes to new construction purchasing. A lot of people don't realize. They say, hey, Don, I bought a new house. It had this, it had that, it had this, it had that. But guess what? If you turn up the radio past 2 notches, your neighbor hears you. Guess what? So you're still in the same situation. So always pay attention to lot width. So in Cane Island, there's some 100-foot lots just released by Partners in Building, and that's going to give you some elbow room. Now, everybody can have the elbow room we used to have just because land is, like they said, they're not building any more land. So land is so valuable. When it's time to develop land, the builders realize, hey, we're either going to get as many houses as we can on these lots, or we're going to go farther out where the land is cheaper. So a lot of times you're going to see some building out. I just sold a couple of houses out in Kendleton. Have a young lady looking out in Navasota today. Have another young lady look out in Dayton. So guess what? The farms, we're coming to the farms, or we're building on these farms. That's what we call a change of use. The people say, what type of investment properties are the best? Sometimes it's ResCom, what we say when you convert residential to commercial. But what you hear going on with the building on the outsides of the city is farm to residential. So basically they're taking these farms and finally going ahead and saying, hey, you know what? We're going to go ahead and sell them to a developer. Developer's going to build some single-family homes on these farms, and we're going to get 4 houses per acre on these farms. So 43,560 square feet in an acre. That's 43,560 square feet in an acre. If I get 4 houses per acre, I'm looking at about 10,000 square foot lots, but you got to leave room for the streets. So let's go ahead and cut out probably 2,000 square feet for streets, sidewalks, and things like that. So now you got an 8,000 square foot lot per acre. So 8,000 square foot. So you can looking at 4 homes per acre. So if you say, well, I got 30 acres to sell, well, guess what? That's 120 houses. 120 houses at an average of $300,000 a house. And now you see why these guys are in the home building business. The home building business, the National Association of Home Builders, NAHB, Greater Houston Builders Association, these are all associations that are all about home building and development of single-family residential, and it's a great opportunity for some people who have been living in an apartment. I'm all about living in a house, but also keep in mind it is a for-profit business. So a lot of these builders are nationally traded. So if you want to find out when's the best time to buy a home, I'll give you one of my secrets. I look at the fiscal year end of the home builder, and I go very aggressively in to represent my buyer, because I realize when you make money when you buy, not when you sell. Like Mattress Mac says, you're either a buyer or you're a seller. And I know anytime you go buy something, you have to buy with the intent to sell. So if I'm buying with the intent to sell, I need to buy right. So the end of the fiscal year of the nationally traded home builders is one of the secrets we use at Don Davis Luxury Realty Group. We have a lot of secrets. We don't put them all on the radio. This is just an appetizer. It's a half-hour appetizer just to let you know what we're doing. We just want to make sure you trust us to recommend and refer us to your friends and family. Also, we're always looking for people who like to learn more about EXP. We are a national real estate company that started off with 20,000. Well, actually, we had 20,000 agents in June. We've grown to 30,000 agents. And it's always good to be a part of a national brand like EXP because we're real estate experts. That means the cream of the crop. We have the technology, and we also have the sales behind us to give you the best deal possible. Definitely want to touch on the fact that if you do buy a house, you buy it at the end of the fiscal year. Rates are down right now. So I have a choir member. I just left the Lakewood choir. Oh, I almost forgot to give a shout out to Pastor Joe at Lakewood. So Pastor Joe at Lakewood says we serve a God of more than enough. That's what the sermon was about today. God of more than enough. He said, well, too many times we become content in our own faith, but it's time to trust God for more than enough, to trust him exceedingly, abundantly, above we can ask or imagine. And so I say that to say anytime you look for a deal, look for a God-given deal. So not only a God-given deal. So this Lakewood Choir member just told me he got a home at a great price. And then not only did he get the great price because of the fiscal year ending of Meritage Homes, he called Meritage Homes at the end of a quarter, then the interest rates dropped. So then he was able to buy his rate down from 3.9 to 3.6. So now not only did he win on the sales price, he won on the interest rate as well. So that's what I mean, buying with the end in mind. You always buy something with the end in mind because you realize we all are sellers, not buyers. We're sellers, and if you buy with the end in mind, you'll have no problem selling your property at any time and making a significant gain tax-free because it's a primary residence. You don't have to pay capital gains. So love where you live, love where you work. We're going to love this next break. Don Davis Luxury Realty Group, love's going to get you. I am Don Davis of DDLRG Luxury International Real Estate, and when it's time to make a business decision about your residence, please keep in mind, it's a Don deal.
DDLRG is for all family groups, whether it's singles, married couples, or families. They specialize, however, in the higher-end upscale properties, but they can handle all borrowers.
We want to create raving fans.
When it's time to make a business decision about your residence, it's a Don deal. All right, we're back. The beat is kicked in, and I'm grabbing the mic because I'm going to end this show on a. I'm going to go on all out. We're going to go ahead and talk about in-town homes. The deal of the week, we're going to call this segment. The deal of the week is in in-town homes, and in-town homes has always been a significantly strong townhouse condominium builder in the Inner Loop area. And I ran across one deal this week that was just so good. I think everybody should go out and take a look at it. It's at 4041 Leland Street. 4041 Leland Street. It's a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath, going for $289,000. That's 4041 Leland Street. 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath, going for $289,000. The benefit of living in that area, like I say, is convenience. I mean, you literally can ride a bike everywhere you go, and at the same time always have 5-star restaurants around you, fine dining, good shopping, Astros game, Rockets game, you name it. So that's the deal of the week to me. When you can get inside the loop for under $300,000, inside the loop under $300,000, that's a win-win. Definitely want to talk about our listings as well. Before we head out, I want to make sure everybody knows we have a new ranch type property for sale on Holder Rights. It can be found on our website, viewallhoustonhomes.com. viewallhoustonhomes.com. It's our featured listings, and it's a 4-acre property going for $695, just off of $249.99. It's a great opportunity for anybody who like to live near the Grand Parkway in the Spring area. In the Old Spring area. I mean, I really think it's a lot of development going out there as well with the Grand Oaks new high school out there. So you definitely want to check out that. Like I say, this is just an appetizer. Please feel free to visit our website, viewallhoustonhomes.com. We're here every Sunday talking to you about the latest in the real estate development. Keep in mind, the main topic I want to focus on today is to focus on the lot size of the property you purchase. Always want to look at the lot size. You also want to know the segments of real estate that people focus on. Are they residential specialists? Should I buy a triplex or fourplex or duplex? We touched on a lot. Also, what is it when a property is converted to use? Does that impact the value in a positive way? What does it mean to go from residential to commercial? What does it mean to go from farm and ranch to residential? What are the pros and cons of each? Once again, this is Don Davis of Don Davis Luxury Realty Group. When it's time to make a business decision about your residence, please keep in mind it's a Don deal. We'll see you here next Sunday, same time. When it's time to make a business decision about your residence, it's a Don deal. Go live your best life.
Business with the best in the industry. Do business with the day